Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our flight in learning a little bit more of this amazing language in my native tongue. And I still keep learning these days. Every time I prepare a new lesson, it's something more new for me to learn. So yesterday we talked about 装聋作哑, of somebody who is in English will be turn a deaf ear to something or turn a blind eye to something, even if some, especially like a social injustice happening or something, some harassment, something that require people stand out. So the person choose to to turn a blind eye to something happening. So in Chinese, that will be described in this phrase, 装聋作哑. It's not real deaf or muted, but just 装 and 作. And the 装 we talked about is a look the role, look as if you're deaf, and 作 is act as if you're muted. So that's 装 and 作, and both of them pair together. 装作 eventually don't really distinguish, but really 装 is the look, and 作 is the act. Okay, and today we have 集装箱. We continue with the 装. So 装 yesterday in 装聋作哑 was about outfit somebody. Actually, that person, the somebody, is the warrior. We talked about how this is the weapon, and this is somebody who is qualified after training or years of doing something, becomes so good with it that it starts from level 1 all the way to level 10. So we have this horizontal line as number 1, and we have this cross as number 10, and we have a 10 sitting on top of a 1. And make sure when you write it, you write the top horizontal line longer than the bottom one, because if you reverse the sequence, that will be, if the top line is shorter than the lower line, that will become the character soil, and that's totally different, right? So now with the upper line longer than the bottom line, that means it's somebody who is accomplished in something. And we talked about this character can be paired with both warrior to make a warrior, paired with wu, martial art kind of thing, with shi, somebody who is qualified in that, that's a warrior, or paired with study, research, all that, to make it a scholar. So somebody who is qualified to study something. So that's 学士. So here we have a weaponry image on the left side that guarantee, okay, this 壮, actually the whole thing is 壮. That means somebody who is muscular, who is armed and also equipped, capable to do something. That's kind of we often use 壮 as the prime time of a person's growth path, like physically most strong time, the most capable warrior, able-bodied and probably able-minded as well, to defend the country. So that's 壮. Okay, so we have 壮, and the clothing, we have this hat and the neckline of a clothing. That's the most succinct way to depict clothing. So we have both the headgear and the bodysuit for the warrior. And that initially came from like outfitting the warriors for it to have the maximum protection going to war, right? And then eventually this outfitting something become packaging, become in today's commercialized world. And we don't really have war we probably still do, like a military spending, military outfitting, their military purpose still going on, but in our daily life, in our civil life, and 装 mostly paired with like a 服装 means a clothing. And here in this context, this 装 actually means packaging, means outfitting your commodity, your thing, your goodies inside something. So instead of outfitting a warrior, a person, it becomes outfitting a thing so that it's protected. The function serves the same, right? Protect the warrior and protect the merchandise. They're the same thing. So it got extended into this strong, like pack in, so that it has a protection. So that's our 装 here. And 集, okay, 集装箱is contemporary expression, and it's a good assembly of Chinese characters to adapt to contemporary living. So all three characters, concepts from the ancient Chinese that have their own service, their own domain of information, right? The domain of definition. But language creators eventually adapt to 20th century living and create 集装箱 to pair to mean ocean liner containers for ocean liners. So, okay, 集 is assemble, and it came from very, very cute image of this is a bird, right? We talked about this in a few episodes ago, and this is the beak of the bird, the head of the bird, a little beady eyes of the bird, and then the torso of the bird, the whole body, and the fluffy feathers of the bird. So there's three of them on top of a tree. So this upward cup, downward cup, connected with a vertical line, that's a Chinese character for tree, just like this, but because it's set on by a cloud of trees, so it kind of bend over. No, I'm joking, simply because of the structure, like a visual balance. The birds is such a complicated, many strokes to depict one bird, right? And there are three of them, and that takes a lot of space. And to frame everything within this a frame, right? You have to kind of shrink. This character means the wood or the tree symbol underneath it to kind of squish it, flatten it. But the whole component is there. It's basically three birds sitting on top of a tree. And from that image derived the meaning of its assembly. It's assemblage of birds. And eventually it extends from bird to any kind of thing assembled together. It could be a living thing, or it could be a non-living thing. And in this case, definitely this assemble doesn't mean, it's goodies, right? Unless it's a human trafficking container, it's non-living things or livestock, right? It's non-living things most of the time across the ocean being shipped around the globe. So this 集 assembly means, okay, so basically 集装箱, how that works is, okay, is it called a full FTL? Geez, my international trade knowledge is faulty now. So basically, there's a full load container. So only one company or one commission, one business commissioned the whole container. So that's a full load container. So only you bought the whole space, or it could be shared, like a partially loaded container. So in this sense, regardless of it's multiple or single container for one business or multiple business, it has the sense of being assembled. It's multiple things are stacking inside. There is this whole industry of efficiency in loading a container to make the best use of space. So this container loading is itself I would say pretty well established already. To figure out now this computer assisted assembly of goods, how the carton boxes most likely are stacking up inside, so that you make use of your space more efficiently, because eventually things are going to be calculated, that shipping costs are going to be shared, distributed of all the goodies inside a container. The more, the better, right? Divided by more, then unit cost will drop down. Okay, all that. This character essentially just captured this multiple things, most likely similar things, right? They're all birds, and basically birds of a feather gathered together, right? So it's the same flock. It's not even different species of birds, same kind of bird, most likely from the same clan, right? And that represent very well of the goodies assembled together. They are most likely the same kind of thing. Maybe have a variation of a different sizes, different colors, but essentially it made by the same manufacturer and serve the same function. Only the look have certain variation. So this is the 集, and the 装 again is a package. So assemble and the package whole thing has to be protected, well assembled in spatial economy, right? And then container is this 箱 concept. Container is the outside this metal, I think it's metal, big metal. I think it's geez, I forgot, a 40 footer, most likely, most common 40 footer or 20 footer long container. And well, before ocean container time, this 箱, you can see the symbols here. There is a wood here and there's bamboo here. So unlike the plant, bamboo leaves are dropping down. That's how bamboo leaves look, right? And that's how bamboo, like this was bamboo depicted like that. So we have bamboo and wood. Either way, it's something from plant-based. It's not metal. That's before industrial age, right? So we don't have that concept yet. But the language we can capture the utility of that thing, which is a container, instead of fixate on the material of that container. It serves a function as contain. And okay, this container image come from, even if there's a bamboo and wood or tree, and then there's an eyeball over there, and you can see, oh, eyeball is kind of out of place. Like what does eye have to do anything with that? Agree. If you look at the ensemble of the assembly of this character, is the bottom, the tree symbol and the eyeball, they are paired together, and that means mutually. And the tree and the eyeball, basically it's a person observing a tree, and the tree could do something to the person as well, right? So basically it's a human and the environment that they are mutually, they are cohabiting this planet Earth. So they got to be coexisting somehow. So there is a certain relationship. So that's the 香. And then bamboo is material. Language scholars would describe this 香 originally used mostly on carriage. So it's the container on carriage, or chariot. So the ancient vehicle that's man-powered or horse-powered, but have a container that, people, whoever can afford the luxury of traveling without, not on food, but on a vehicle, sitting inside that cabinet. So that cabinet thing was originally used by this. And for me, I would interpret as, okay, yes, there is a human involved in there, and human inside a wood block, and something with it also made of bamboo, I guess, because bamboo is light but sturdy as well. And so that person on the vehicle inside that container, that vehicle container eventually used to being any kind of container. And this I simply means this person originally is livestock inside that container. Okay, this is ocean container. Specifically means 集装箱 means these things that's sitting on the ocean liner. I guess these are 20 footers and these are 40 footers, and they are standardized. They gotta be standardized. And there are multiple container manufacturers and ocean liners and what they call shipping companies who does that, and assembling of goods. So this is on the global supply chain, the logistic part of it, and this is the I guess Jizhuangxiang is a representative of the era of globalization. And here I simply pick out something related to Jizhuangxiang. You see ocean container, and this is the trend line over time from 2000 to 2022, how the cost of container spot, if you rent a container, how much that costs you. And this is Asia to US West Coast, the two blue lines, West Coast or East Coast. You can see to the West Coast is a little bit cheaper than the East Coast, but it's kind of spiked in 2021. Yeah, I remember at that time. People who are in the industry of global supply chain, they are devastated by the rising cost, a drastic rising cost of container. You see, this is 5,000, now it's 20,000, like within a few months. That's crazy. And then the Asia to Europe and Europe to North America, doesn't change that much, but there was a spike of there. US consumers complain about inflation and want to point finger at somebody else, this is one of the causes. The ocean liner container cost rose up, and now at the end of 2022, probably our consumption was still impacted by the cost here, because goodies shipped in 2021 last year could get distributed, all over America and contribute to the rise of cost of good, and contributed to the inflation. One of the reasons of inflation. So that's how Chinese say it, 集装箱. And I, as a language user, and I used to work a lot with 集装箱, never give a thought about it. But definitely this shows the language adaptability of Chinese, that we can assemble concepts from existing Chinese characters and extend that. And by combining them, 集装箱, 3 of them assembled together, simply means ocean container, and makes perfect sense. So me as a language learner, even if at first time I came across 集装箱, this phrase, I wouldn't be so surprised of what it end up to mean. I mean, ocean container, that makes total sense to me. So this is a good example of how Chinese can still survive and thrive probably in contemporary life. Like new expressions, new things coming up, Chinese can always adopt and attach it to the past experience and extend it into new experience. All right, Catching to the Currency of Thinking by One Word a Day with Sophie. See you another day.